Number 1, the movement is violent and racist.
And it's what I view as a rise in black supremacy.
Racism is another problem with the Black Lives Matter.
It began when an armed citizen, was shot by police after he attempted to flee from a traffic stop and raised his gun at an officer. Oh, and he was black. So...
The BLM movement's issue with the phrase all lives matter is racism in itself. I mean, do all lives matter or do...
Protesters throwing several items at officers, glass bottles and rocks, even a metal ball.
Pigs in a blanket! Fry like bacon! Pigs in a blanket!
The protest started at the Mall of America. That's the nation's largest shopping mall in suburban Minneapolis. The activists chanted, "Black Lives Matter."
According to Pew Research Center, 57% of Americans get their news from television news channels, including cable news channels, local news channels, and network nightly. Fox News has been the most watched news channel with 2.48 million viewers. CBS, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, and CNN are all among the top 10 most watched news channels. These cable news sources, some more than others, tend to often feature more angry mob imagery of the Black Lives Matter movement rather than featuring the goals of the movement or the reasons behind the movement. Alicia Garza created Black Lives Matter with Patrisse Cullors and Opal Tometi. It was created as a call to action for Black people after 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was killed and George Zimmerman, his murderer, was not held accountable for the crime he committed. Black Lives Matter is a human rights movement that challenges systematic racism. As Alicia Garza says, when Black people are free, everyone is free. When we address the problems in America, we often start from a place of trickle-down justice, where we help the least affected and hope the help will trickle down to those most affected. This system does not work, especially in this situation. We have to address the problems at the root. We must deal with what is happening in Black communities and work our way up from there. If we deal with the most impacted, everybody has an opportunity to benefit. As Patrisse Cullors says, the movement for Black Lives Matter is not just for Black people, it's for everyone. She also explains how we live in a society obsessed with Black death. We see it every day, everywhere, through fiction and reality. What if instead we imagine Black life, Black people living? Black Lives Matter gives life back to Black people. Investing in Black leadership is also a goal of the movement. Black Lives Matter events go on constantly all over the nation. There are days of action, teachings, panels, Twitter chats, and more. There's a calendar of events online at blacklivesmatter.com. It is rare for the most viewed cable television channels like Fox News, CNN, or MSNBC to show these events. It is pretty common, however, for these cable channels to show the angry mob imagery from the movement. Of course, some of these cable news channels show more of this angry mob imagery than others, but these are still the most viewed cable television shows, and these are a good portion of the news sources that are contributing to the warping of this violent image of the Black Lives Matter movement in the general public's mind. Fox News is the most viewed cable news channel, and this is probably the channel that depicts the movement in the most negative way by commonly referring to it as a hate group. 2.48 million Americans watch Fox News, which generally depicts Black Lives Matter in a violent manner.
It is a tool to reimagine a world where Black people are free to exist, free to live. It is a tool for our allies to show up differently for us.
Next time you hear something from a very popular cable TV news channel like Fox News or CNN, don't believe it right away. Look into the news you are hearing. Look for a reliable source. If something seems ridiculous that you hear from a cable news source, that's because it probably is, and it has probably been twisted in some way. Check other media outlets and see how closely the stories match. The media twists and warps a lot of stories. Don't let the media control your mind. Have a mind for yourself.